We'll go ahead and start questions to coaches left with Paul.
Coach, I know that especially in the SEC, matchups will dictate what your rotation and your schemes and all that stuff. But you've gone to the three guard look a good bit more this year than previous years, and even when it's not Jaden Hubb or DeBoer, you've had King out there too with three guards. What's kind of your thoughts so far on how that's played out? Like I said, I know matchups will determine a lot moving forward, but what's kind of your thoughts on how you've seen that play out?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's a lineup that we've utilized at different times throughout the season, and it's like every year, you never know how it's going to unfold and who's going to play well in the games and who plays well together. And with Jabari emergence, especially, I don't know how many games ago where he had some bigger games and became more consistent for us. We just trusted him more. And when we had those three guards out there, we felt like we got a little more scoring pop than maybe some other lineups that we employ. Certainly we're not as lengthy as when we have a normal three in there. But if the other team, like you mentioned, the lineups dictate it sometimes, is playing guys that we feel Jabari could match up with and not be a problem, then it makes sense to do so just because the offensive firepower and just having another handler, decision maker out there on the court. And like you mentioned, King, is coming off a really good game. One of his better games, if not the best game that he's played. And, we played him the game before that, in the guts of the game as well. And, he's getting better and he's bought into practice, which he needs to do and continue to grow. And certainly gives us another option to play, three guards out there at the same time.
Go ahead, Danny P.
Coach, Quincy had a season-high 15 rebounds the other night. And I know it'd been nice to get him that double-double with him, missed that last basket. But just talk about his development on the boards and how big that's going to be going into SEC play.
Yeah, I mean, this is, time for him to step up and be a major contributor for us every single night. He rebounded the ball in a very good way. Certainly, the size differential was obvious to everybody, and so he should be, one of the leading rebounders, if not the leading rebounder in a game like that if he gets enough minutes. And he did that all in 17 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. I thought in the second half he was a little more aggressive with protecting the rim than he was earlier in the game, and that's something we've been really talking to him about is, some of his fouls are more of the passive department, and we want his fouls, not that we're encouraging him to foul because we're not, but if he is going to get some fouls, we want them to be more of the aggressive ones where he's attacking the ball handler that's coming at him when he's protecting the rim and, meeting him rather than waiting for him and hoping, to block the shot. So, it's got to get his mindset to just be more aggressive in those situations. And then we've been working and talking about rebounding a lot. Our effort in the first half as a team was really, really good. Probably the best first half we've had, all season long. It wasn't as good in the second half by percentages, but overall, it ended up being a really good night for us. But like we all know, I mean, doing it in that game and doing it Saturday and Wednesday and Saturday and on is a whole nother story.
Go ahead, Jacob.
What kind of style changes have you seen from Texas this year under Sean Miller?
Yeah, obviously new coach, new staff, do have, a couple holdovers from last year individually, but, Coach Miller's obviously a great coach, a coach everybody, respects in the business. He's won at a high level and been around it a long, long time as a head coach at the Division I level. And, it's his first year, so, they're trying to get their feet underneath them and build their standards for their program, but they're very, very talented. I mean, gosh, they're just very well versed and well taught. And if you look at their Ken Pom, I mean, they're really good in a lot of areas, both rebounding on the offense and defensive end. I mean, they don't turn the ball over. They get to the line. They shoot the ball very, very well. They played a pretty challenging schedule. They played, some really, really good teams. And this is their, SEC opener. So everybody's going to be, ready to go. But the thing about, Coach and his team is they're just so well schooled in, a lot of different areas. Some programs it's about speed and pace of play in the transition game, and some it's about hanging their hat on the defensive end. And, for me, watching them, it's about just they try to play right in every facet of the game and play well in every facet of the game.
Go back to Paul.
With the non-conference portion over with, and I figured I'd ask you about T. Bartlett and Cameron Paul since neither have played yet, just kind of what the plan is for them, redshirting or.
Yeah, it's a fair question, and we were just talking about it in the office on game day. And right now, it's status quo, but that doesn't mean it won't change. But currently, that's the plan.
Kind of follow up on that. You talked a lot about T having certain goals to meet, and how is he kind of developing from that standpoint?
Yeah, he's been fighting and scratching and clawing, and I'm proud of the work that he's been putting in, and particularly with Don Walker, our strength coach, who does a fabulous job. And he came in behind the 8 ball. I mean, everyone in our program or follows our program knows. He didn't get here unfortunately in the summer, and he just came in overweight, but he's attacked it, and he's been really working behind the scenes when nobody's watching. It's one thing to work behind the scenes when no one's watching, knowing that you're going to play in front of the lights, 30, 35 times a year, but to do it when you don't have game day is a tall task. But he's really fighting that, and as we all know, at least I know, like when you're trying to cut weight like that, the first X amount is a little bit easier than getting down to what you want to be at. So he's in that mode right now, in that grind. But I think he's doing an excellent job that way, and he's well on his way to where he wants to be and where we want him to be.
Go back to Jacob to Coach's right.
Texas has a very efficient big man down there. What's it like preparing for a guy like him, and what makes him such a tough matchup?
Yeah, he's a load. He's just the thing that sticks out to me the most is his physicality. Like, does he have moves and touch? Yeah, of course he does. But he's just so physical. Like if you're on your heels at all, he's going to put you in the rim. He gets to the line. He's a good free throw shooter. He shoots excellent from the field, and he doesn't fear anything or anybody. And he's played against some of the best that college basketball has to offer. So he'll be, he's certainly got our full attention, but like a lot of their players do, they got a bunch of good players, but he definitely sticks out, and just impressed with his approach, his physicality, his understanding of who he is, and getting it onto the floor every single night. So our guys that, like Quincy and Jamar and those kind of guys are going to have to put their big boy pants on when they're playing against him.
Danny P.
You just mentioned about Jamar. He's had flashes of looking really good this year in the stretches that he's played. The other night he had some moments. Just talk about his development and what he continues to need to do.
Yeah, he's been a great surprise. Not surprise. I mean, obviously, when you sign someone, you think they're going to be a good player. You're not sure when exactly they're going to be, but he's a little ahead of a schedule, I guess, would be a better phrase to use. And he's just bought into, making the plays that we're asking him to make. He makes athletic plays. He rarely takes a possession off. He's assignment correct defensively, and we just love that he's flexible in terms of being able to defend different positions. He's able to defend ball screens in different coverages, and we don't have as many guys this year that have the ability to do that. So he's kind of our Swiss Army knife defensively. He sometimes doesn't his work doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it shows up on video. It shows up in our team room. Our players know about it. Our coaches know about it. People that really understand the game and are watching the game can follow his worth and the positivity that he brings. And now, he's getting more comfortable, you know, with making passes, scoring around the basket. You know, he continues to work on his skill level, and the best part about him is, you know, he's still young, he's still growing, and with experience, he'll only get better and better.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next Monday.
Happy New Year, y'all. All right.